stack in hand, and look at the sacrifices I made to get it.
What's up, guys? It's Nick with Port City Pulls, and while this is normally my Cape Fear Coffee and Comics channel, this weekend is going to be the first Cape Fear Coffee and Comics that's more podcast style, to where I'm just going to be going on and on about my thoughts on recent comics, what I've read, things that are going on in comic culture and film, and just kind of everything that's comics. So in prelude to that, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some new books that came out this week that I think are some must grabs. One, starting with DC, we've got the new history of the DC Universe, the Dakota Incident. This is a Black History Month release, and this is a very important book to pick up to signal to DC that, hey, we want to see characters like Static, like Icon and Rocket, like Hardware, the Blood Syndicate show up in the mainline continuity of DC. We want to see some of these characters with an ongoing series. And it's not going to happen unless we go out and support this book. So a very important book to pick up for DC. Staying in theme, we've got another Black History Month cover, and this is for issue 32 of Green Lantern. We got this John Stewart cover, pretty sick. To give you a look of what cover A is on the inside. And we've got the second issue that Stephanie Williams has written for the mainline Wonder Woman run. It's another Black History Month cover because you got Nubia on the cover of this. And, you know, this is cover A. And for the main line Wonder Woman has been written by Tom King, and Stephanie Williams is just taking over to write a couple issues, few issues that are, I don't know if it was just because of it being Black History Month and being a little bit of Nubia involved in the story, or if it's because of all of the backlash over how people are perceiving what Tom King's written with Wonder Woman so far. So I think this is also a good book to pick up, even if you haven't been reading the main line Wonder Woman. I've mostly been reading the absolute titles, but still wanted to pick up those issues. Speaking of the absolute titles, there's only gonna be 12 issues of Absolute Martian Manhunter, but we've got issue number 9 that has came out this week, and cannot wait to read this. This whole story, when we've got the full 12 issues, is just beautiful works of art, a very intricate, trippy story. Sad to see it have such a short run, but I do understand, since it's just a very creative story that maybe just doesn't mesh well when you kind of cross over with the other Absolute characters, because it's kind of set aside. It's its own thing. Still staying with Absolute, we've got Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 17, which this is back to Sherman doing the art on this. Kelly Thompson still doing the writing fantastically. And she had her annual, I guess, last week or the week before. Let me show you cover A on the inside. But as a follow-up to issue 16, where we see the Absolute version of Suicide Squad in Zatanna, which kind of seems to be their leader somewhat. I expect all of those characters to be showing up in this and facing off against Diana, so this is going to be a really fun read. The last few titles for DC, these are all DC KO tie-ins. We've got issue 35 of Superman, which I really love the colors of that variant. And we've got The End Is Nigh, cover A. It's actually a really cool cover A. We got Time Trapper, Superman on the cover. If you're not familiar with what's going on with the story, you're gonna be like, who the heck's Time Trapper? It looks like Doomsday. It's because it's the same person. Can't wait to see what happens in that. We're getting close to the end of DCKO. This may be the last issue as far as the KO tie-in for Justice League Unlimited, because this is part 5 of the Terrific 10, which Mr. Terrific with his crew that's been going through hell to find whatever it is that they've been trying to find that will assist in what's going on in the bigger event. We should see the conclusion of that. And then this is also potentially the last Flash KO tie-in. I'm not sure on that, but we've got Flash issue number 30. It's also a KO tie-in. I've enjoyed that a little bit less than some of the other tie-ins, but that is it for DC. Now let's jump into Marvel. I did not organize this as well, so we're just going to kind of go through as I see them. So we've got Amazing Spider-Man / Venom, Death Spiral, issue number 1. And this is kind of what all the big crossover event for all of the Spider titles, and not really sure what to expect from it. Some of the Spider titles have been, I think, hit or miss recently. For some people, I've loved all of it. I've always been a big ASM reader, and I expect to enjoy it. Black Panther Intergalactic has also been hit or miss for a lot of people. There's been, I think, some people complaining that the art doesn't feel as fleshed out. I've seen some people complain that the story's not really kind of giving us anything. But I really enjoyed the first issue of this run. I didn't enjoy the second issue so much. Hopefully this third issue really picks up and does well, because I really don't want to see that run in kind of short. But I can see if it continues to not do as great, they may end up capping it at, a short number of issues. We've got a X title with Inglorious X-Force issue number 2. The first issue of this was great. I love the team of Archangel, Boom Boom, Helverine. It's just a really good mix of characters, to fight alongside Cable. But there's definitely some other stuff at play and some things that Cable knows about the future per kind of Cable and X-Force tropes. As far as why he picked these particular characters. So really interested to see what happens with that. And yeah, let's move on to the second issue of the new Iron Man ongoing. I love this variant. So this is the Invincible Iron Man. This is Iron Man issue number 2. But look at the variant of this. It's very retro styled. We got the legacy numbering of 682 on here. Just a really cool way to do this. So I can't wait to read that. The first issue was great. And I believe this is Joshua Williamson that's writing it. Yeah, Joshua Williamson is who's writing the new Iron Man run. What Joshua Williamson's done for G.I. Joe, that whole that part of the Energon universe, has just been amazing writing. Like, I fell in love with his writing style from that, so I knew to expect good things from Iron Man, and have not been disappointed. It's the first solo Iron Man book that I've read. The historically, Iron Man, I don't think was as popular in the comics as he was on film. I think the interest in that has probably shifted because of films. I'm just really excited to see that continue to do well. Al Ewing's The Mortal Thor has been a great run. First off, the art in all of these issues has just been fantastic. I love how we're sticking with the theme to where you get a quote, like a famous quote on the first page. You get kind of the intro and what's going on in the story before you get to the title cards. I love that style. But after Immortal Thor, I was wondering, like, is Mortal Thor going to be, is it going to pick it up? Because but supposedly there's going to be 3 arcs, and Immortal Thor was the first arc. Mortal Thor is the second arc. Don't know what the third's going to be, but I'm loving what Al Ewing is doing with this. We got a new Punisher number 1. And this is, one complaint I have is I really wish that Marvel would do their variant covers as like cardstock, so you could get a cover A on the inside. Is what it is. Benjamin Percy is who's doing the writing, and I can tell you Ben Percy does a great job. I think he's writing Dungeons of Doom and some other titles, and I've just really enjoyed his writing style. So I'm excited for this Punisher ongoing. We've had some great shorter runs recently with the Marvel Knights Punisher run, with the Red Band Punisher run. So excited to see what happens with this new ongoing. Speaking of new ongoings, we've got the second issue of Rogue. And I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this first issue. So I'm really excited to see what happens in the second issue. I love how on the cover you're seeing her kind of display kind of different powers, kind of like what her ability is. The first issue of this really delved into like her having some traumatic memories pop up from her days of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I can't wait to see them dive further into this. There was also a short mini run, I think like a 5-book run of Mystique that was from a couple years ago. Highly recommend reading that online, then picking up the first couple of issues of Rogue. I think you'll feel connected into what's going on a little bit more. We got the third issue of Sorcerer Supreme with Wanda being our new Sorceress Supreme. This has been a really fun read so far. I love how Wanda's kind of doing her own thing. I love that Bats, the dog, is showing up in here and kind of the normal stuff that you expect to see around the Sanctorum, like Wong, some of the other pets, and also this mirror where she's keeping one of her trusted, not really trusted, but one of the people that she goes to for advice, because she does do a really good job of getting advice from different viewpoints, from really good and innocent side like Wong, as well as more sinister sides with Kathan. So can't wait to continue that read. We've got the last issue of Spider-Man and Wolverine. This should be fun because this has been a really fun read. And overall, while it doesn't feel like it's necessarily connected to anything going on with the mainline Wolverine or mainline Spider-Man, which is probably a big complaint that some people have had about Marvel, but it's been a really entertaining standalone. If you do fall into that camp of I guess feeling like Marvel's not really connected enough with their comics, read Will of Doom. Well, if you've read One World Under Doom, Will of Doom, Dungeons of Doom, then Chip Zdarsky's Cap Run, and now Chip Zdarsky's Wolverine, Weapons of Armageddon, all of that is connected and meshing very well. It's going to be a big question mark if some of the other big titles like Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, etc. are going to be at all connected to, or maybe they become more connected to as we get closer to the bigger Armageddon event. But there's definitely more of a through line between those comics that make it very much worth checking out. And probably one of my most anticipated, if not most anticipated, Marvel book for this week is the Infernal Hulk issue number 4. This has been really fun. I love when Hulk's written kind of like in this horror, body horror, scary horror, jump scare kind of format. Like I loved the Immortal Hulk run, and some of the books after that I've been like kind of felt like were okay. Infernal Hulk picked it back up. I can't wait to read more of this, and I think Infernal War is something that's going to be happening next year. So looking forward to reading that. Now, drum roll. My favorite section is independence. I'm a big independent head. I saved that for last because I think all of these books are fantastic. Cannot wait to dive into this. These are what I'm going to read first before anything else. We've got a new Barbaric, and this is Long Death issue number 2. And yeah, by Vault Comics, and I can't show you the cover because it's a not safe for work variant, but that is going to be a really cool cover to see what it is. But also, I just love the Barbaric story. I love Barbarian comics in general, but I can't wait to read that. Now, I had no idea what Execution Posse Holdings is as far as a comic company. I have no idea what Maid Cafe is. All I know is I saw this and saw that Mark Spears, Mark Spears Monsters or Monster and the Wolf, just a really talented artist when drawing kind of like that realism style of art. Saw that he is who did this and had to pick it up, know nothing about it. There's a trading card in here. You get it, like most Mark Spears comics, you get like the different variants on the back, which not as much as the Monsters comics because you get like freaking 30 on the back of some of those. The Arthur Immortal. If you're not reading this, it's only on issue number 5, but this has been such a fun read. If you like things like the Neverending Story, kind of like those kind of fantasy films from that era of like the 80s, maybe late 80s, early 90s, you would love the Arthur Immortal. I love the kind of real world and problems from that, the fantasy world, problems from that, everything kind of bleeding over into each other. It's just been a really cool story. And yeah, I mean, this follows an Arthur and his daughter and kind of the there is a story that that author's always been connected to that they're essentially now in. There's a lot more to it than that, but you know, this is only the fifth issue. It's coming out, I think, maybe once a month or once every other month. I think it's once a month. So you could easily get caught up on this, and great, great Image comic. Now, my most anticipated Image comic for this week, Tyler Kirkham, issue number 4 of Final Boss. And look at this cover. If you love like an anime match, here's this person's stats, here's that person's stats, a battle, like if somebody wins the battle or loses the battle, how their stats change in that kind of tournament style of fight. This is a great read. And I will tell you, when it comes to like drawing battles, like fight battles and showing battle damage with art, there's nobody better than Tyler Kirkham. So pick this up, read it, love it, because I know that I'm going to. This is awesome. So when it comes to Image Comics, Ghost Machine titles. So this is Redcoat. This is Rook Exodus. This is Junkyard Joe, Hyde Street. Of all of those different titles, I honestly think that Hyde Street is one of the best, if not best, in my opinion. I just love almost kind of like the anthology style of the stories. This kind of being like a street, like almost like a purgatory type street, to where when people wander onto it because of some reason, and these kind of like horror-esque events, it reminds me of watching stuff like The Outer Limits and Twilight Zone, etc. So I'm just really loving reading Hyde Street. But this is a Youngblood Returns variant cover. And did Rob Liefeld do this cover? I'm not sure who did the drawing of the cover, but you do get Chapel from Youngblood on the cover. I'm really curious to see if in the story, if there's any sort of Youngblood crossing over. Probably not. I think this is just a Youngblood variant cover, but super sick. I will say I love how Image just does not miss when it comes to the quality of their paper, the presentation. So good. Bad Idea. This is a good idea from Bad Idea. We've got issue number 3 of Save Now, one of my favorite independent runs that I've picked up. The whole concept of being able to rewind time, but then like you're aging the same. The whole premise of that, like, okay, I know I could go back and change X, Y, and Z and maybe have this intended result, but then I'll be 5 minutes older by going back 5 minutes, or a year older if I go back last year. When somebody is doing that to save the world and they're going back frequently and they're aging, I mean, it's just dealing with all of these concepts, and very similar to like why I like the story of Invincible, how some of these good guys, or even The Boys, where like some of the good guys are not necessarily good. I love the depth of these characters, the tropes that they're dealing with, the conflicts. It's just the artwork. It's awesome. This is a good kind of, for the mature comic reader, this is fantastic. We've only got 8 issues total for Robert Kirkman and David Finch's Skinbreaker, and issue number 6 came out this week. I expect this to be another masterpiece of just gorgeous, gorgeous art. Let me just show you here. For anybody that's not reading this, so that you can see the amount of detail that is put in to these panels. It's just insane. But we're on the 6th issue. We got 2 more after this. I'm gonna be really sad for it to end, but I know there's been like a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that David Finch has had to put into drawing something that intricate. So I understand why it would be a shorter run. But man, I hope we get to see David Finch popping up on some new stuff ASAP. And speaking of Robert Kirkman, moving over to the Energon universe, we've got issue number 27 of Void Rivals. And it's what launched things with Energon, and I will say I've really loved Void Rivals. After loving Saga, and that was just a massive run. I'm not even sure if Saga's finished. This really filled what was missing after no longer having Saga, or at least at the point that I was at with Saga. So really have enjoyed Void Rivals. And we're kind of getting to that point where things are crossing over more between different areas of the Energon universe. That's just a really exciting time with that. Staying with Image, we've got Spawn, The Dark Ages, issue 3. And this is only going to be a 6-issue run. But again, I really, really love the intricacy of the art in this book. The writing has been fantastic. So Liam McCormick Sharp, and he's actually done the writing, the art, the coloring. I mean, it's amazing. So he's a three-peat as far as talent. And the language in this, I mean, it's written as if it's being spoken in that time, which can be confusing at points. But I mean, just such a beautiful read. I think of Spawn spinoffs. This has been one of the most amazing, just kind of clean art. I kind of like it if you have a spinoff for it to be kind of this defined thing versus something that goes on a very long run itself. I mean, I guess it depends because like Gunslinger, Spawn, love that, and it's got a ton of issues, but King Spawn as well. Now, moving over to Ignition Press. I only got one title for Ignition Press this week, but anytime you see an Ignition Press, it's worth picking up. There's been very few titles that I've not enjoyed. Maybe Devour I haven't enjoyed as much, but all of the titles have been great. And Leah Williams, Voyeur is, I mean, if you don't know what's going on in Voyeur, you could think this is just very scandalous, like it's just a voyeur, like that TV show You or something like that. While it does deal with some voyeuristic tropes in this, there's this bigger art heist, international art thief kind of storyline going on that makes this a much bigger, more robust story. So definitely worth picking up. This is one of my favorite Ignition Press titles. And last but not least of all of my pickups this week, we've got Conan the Barbarian issue. What issue is this? Let me open this up to see what issue we're on here, because I am going to forget which issue. This is issue 29, but look at this sick foil variant for Conan the Barbarian. And again, like I mentioned, I am a big Barbarian style comic fan in general, and actually that OG Conan sword, even though that's kind of like a dumbed down version of it, I have a replica of the movie sword, and it is like a real sword, like sharp, like real metal. Anyway, big Barbarian fan, maybe TMI, I don't know. But thanks for watching. I'm gonna have some more of these rambling on kind of videos, and I'm probably gonna try to limit it to just my weekend videos of talking about some top things that have came out that I've read, some stuff as far as comic culture and films. So tune in on that because I'll start doing those on the weekend. It's unclear if I want to keep doing New Comic Book Day posts, at least on my YouTube channel. But please like, subscribe, check out my other socials. Port City Polls on TikTok is where I post a lot of content, as well as Port City Polls on Instagram. But see you guys next time.